See, that's too high. Oh yeah, nice. This is my dog. His name is Alfie. I actually curled my hair today. Look at that. So today's background features my lovely fence, this fire pit, and some lovely plants in the background as well that you can't really see because it's covered by the fire. Yeah, hi and welcome back to the second episode of my YouTube channel revival. Today's video is going to be a little bit different to anything I've actually filmed ever, which is cool, and it was definitely an idea I had in the middle of the night because that's when I have all the best ideas. So this is essentially the critical analysis of all the Barbie movies that you never asked for, but I'm going to deliver anyway. But I'm actually so excited. As soon as I had the idea, I was like, yep, I have to do it. I am a self-proclaimed expert in this field. I cannot explain to you how much I love Barbie movies. A short disclaimer is that I love every single one of these movies. A lot of people who review Barbie movies tend to prefer the classics because that's like the originals, like the Nutcracker, Rapunzel, that kind of thing. I actually, this is going to turn away some people, but I actually prefer the old 2009 to about 2013 range of Barbie movies. I think that was like premium time, mainly because the quality of the actual footage went up really quickly. The actual storylines kind of followed suit with that as well. The first thing I want to say is that I have not watched the Barbie miniseries that was released in 1987, but I have watched all the others. One thing I will say is that I know and understand that the Barbie dolls and a lot of the Barbie characters in the movies provide a unrealistic body image, and there's all these issues with that kind of thing. But I must say that one, they're making great efforts at the moment to diversify that body image. Barbie's a typical white, blonde, skinny, tall girl, but you know, you've got Nikki and you've got Teresa and Raquel, like there's lots of different people. And in the new series that's on Netflix at the moment, they have Daisy and Renee. Obviously it's not the way that we want it to be exactly, and the representation will always be fairly limited. I do think that Barbie has actually made a really good effort to diversify their cast and diversify the characters represented. Barbie is such an amazing role model in terms of how she is portrayed in all of these movies. Every movie where she plays herself, she displays really admirable characteristics that I think are really important for little kids to watch. That being said, I'm going to start with Barbie the Nutcracker, which was released in 2001. So at the time I was 1 year old when it was released. Obviously I would have probably watched it then, but I don't remember that. I've watched it a number of times after that. I will say that like Barbie's character as Clara obviously follows that very stereotype, you know, all I want for Christmas is you know. Obviously it does follow the story of the Nutcracker, and the very first movies, in fact, the Nutcracker, Rapunzel, Swan Lake, Princess and the Pauper, Magic of Pegasus, so the first 5 movies all follow a storyline that wasn't created by this specific movie. It's awesome, it's an absolute classic, I love it, it reminds me of my childhood. One thing that I'm not a super big fan of is that the villain is a mouse. Even though it obviously follows the original storyline, it's much more of a evil, wicked animal that goes against humans, is nothing but inherently evil. I do find that the newer Barbie movies tend to create more of a plot for the villain, and not saying that this doesn't have a plot at all. He has much less of a redeeming quality that makes him evil in the first place. The music in this movie is amazing, obviously. The whole movie begins with Kelly trying to learn how to dance, and then she's not very good, and then Barbie goes, oh, I'll tell you a story about Clara, yada yada yada. And I really like the way that they do that. However, I think that I do feel that sometimes it breaks it out of the immersion of the actual story. I love the Sugar Plum Fairies, and the charm of the Nutcracker is, The second one, which was released in 2002, is Barbie as Rapunzel. This is another classic and I absolutely love it. The quality of the movie is pretty damn good for 2002. The songs are amazing, the characters are cool. I really like that she has this inquisitiveness and curiosity about the outside world. It's a really good thing to represent in a movie. They probably didn't intend for it to be so applicable to today's society where children more than ever are spending so much time indoors. It's a really lovely movie, very feel good, as all the Barbie movies are. I also like that she's an artist. I think that's really cool. I really like the dragon Penelope. That adds a really good element to the movie. The next one is 2003 and it's Barbie of Swan Lake. This is an absolute classic. I remember watching this with my friends when I was about 6 years old, so it was about 3 years after this was released. Twist. Beautiful, beautiful movie. Again, the dancing and the singing is very iconic of Barbie, and I love it. It's a really straightforward storyline. It's not original. It very closely adheres to the original storyline, but you know, they definitely add a Barbie twist to it, and that is all I can ask for. The next one is the biggest family favorite. It is Princess and the Pauper, which was released in 2004, and I must say I've only ever watched this movie once, and I actually didn't watch it at all when I was a kid, and I think maybe that's why I don't really have a bias for it. I watched it about a year or so ago. Everyone loves it, so I needed to know what it was about, and I love it. It is such a nice movie. It's a really good representation of the lack of importance of wealth. They're literally the same character, but with different coloured hair. I love how the whole message is the power of friendship. I'm gonna offend so many people, but I do think it is a tiny bit overrated. It's a good movie, don't get me wrong. It's just not the best one. I do love the songs though. The songs are pretty amazing and they're good memes. So next one is Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus. When it first came out, because there was this whole 3D feature that they added to it, and I'm not really sure why they picked that one specifically, but I remember going to Video Easy when I was a kid and getting the 3D glasses, and eventually they stopped giving you the 3D glasses because people were getting conjunctivitis and they didn't want to spread diseases and stuff. So I just had to watch the 3D version of the movie but without the glasses, and that kind of sucked. I think this movie is really good because it depicts Barbie as this intelligent woman who's capable of doing her own things, and they all are. And I think that's what's really awesome about Barbie movies is all the movies in some fashion depict Barbie as an active character in her own fate and not just a passive, submissive aspect of other people's lives who's saved by someone else, and I think that is where Barbie shines through as a really amazing character. It's lovely. I love the Pegasus. It was a really big thing when it came out in 3D, and that was released in 2005. This next one, I'm definitely biased for. It holds a really special place in my heart. I have watched it. I think this is definitely up there with one of the ones I've watched the most, and I really do love this movie. The quality of the actual footage is crap. It was 2006. It is worse than the one released that same year, The 12 Dancing Princesses, and I think it got a lot of hate. I really like it. It's just got a special place in my heart, and it definitely is something I wanted to be when I was a kid. Like, I watched this movie and went, oh, I want to be in high school. I want to be cool like them. A downfall of it that I didn't obviously realize when I was little, but it was much more apparent as I got older watching it, was this really clear distinction between like the popular group and the like nerds, so to speak. It put people into groups. It's very high school teenage movie, and I think that's what they tried to do with this movie. All the other movies are very, you know, fairy tale, that kind of thing, and it's really interesting to see Barbie take on like a high school role and a role that's like really real for people who are actually watching the movie. I do think though, because reading the reviews made me kind of realize that maybe America have a bit more of a high school dynamic that's closer to that depicted in the movie. This next one, released in the same year in 2006, is my favourite of all the classics, so before 2008, and it is Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses. It's such a beautiful depiction of family and not being perfect and that being okay. Like, Genevieve has all these quirks to her that don't match up and she doesn't meet her family's approval. I really like that, and I think this is a big part of Barbie movies in general, is that they never do anything vengeful or mean to the evil character, even though I really, really hate the evil character in this movie. I think that Rowena isn't really given enough plot line. She's definitely got a major role in the movie, but only as the evil, scary woman, which is definitely something that Barbie has in the classics. Mattel has this kind of tendency, especially in the earlier movies, to depict a woman or an animal as an inherently terrible and bad character that has absolutely no plot line other than they are just actively trying to ruin Barbie's life. And I think that the newer movies, something really important that they do is create this tension where the evil character often has like a redeeming subplot or something like that, or she's mildly successful, or it's a he, or you know, other things like that that don't depict women in this stereotypical perfect Barbie role or this stereotypical terrible villainous role. I really like that Lacey has an important role in this one as well. I assume that she's like the Kelly, and I really like that special friendship between Genevieve and Lacey. I like that Genevieve isn't the top dog. She's just this middle of the road character that has flaws, that kind of thing. That's really important. If you were to watch any of the Barbie classics, I would recommend this one. The next one, which I would argue is probably the second best of the Barbie classics, Barbie and the Island Princess. It's such a lovely movie. Rosella is a beautiful character with such curiosity and this down-to-earthness, which is really, really awesome. It makes me want to go outside and live with animals for the rest of my life. I love the elephant, so cute. Makes me so happy. Just all the animals in this movie. Yes, love, 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 love. The next one, which is called Barbie and the Diamond Castle. It was released in 2008. I think this movie is in my top 3 movies. It is one of my favorite Barbie movies of all time. The songs are amazing, connected, so good, shows the power of friendship. I could get so emotional about this movie. I just love it so much, and I love that both characters are not born into this royal palace like a lot of the movies are, and they're like, oh, I just want to be normal. I really like how Liana and Alexa are really grounded. They come from a place that doesn't have much and they're just normal, really, or they're struggling to get by. Yeah, it's just awesome. I just want to watch it right now. I love the dogs. I think they add a lot of comedic relief along with the 2 princes, and I really like in this movie the princes do literally like they do a little bit, but they merely are an addition to the girls saving everything. The girls are the main characters and they're not saved by anyone. They cause their own fate. Yeah, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And they don't care about the princes. Like, I just love that. It's, a lot of people say it's a real lesbian movie, and I think that's really cool. It's a really, really cool movie that hints at a lot of things that are much more progressive than the era of which it was released. The next movie was released in the same year, and it's Barbie and a Christmas Carol. Because it follows that same storyline of the, original Christmas Carol, it takes you back a little bit because you see Barbie as this character that isn't inherently good, and that's something that Barbie never dabbled with and probably will never dabble with again. It's cool because Barbie is Scrooge, and I honestly didn't think when it came out, not that I was this critical when it came out, but I didn't really like it that much as a kid. I love it a lot more now as I'm older because it's such a just lovely movie that teaches kids the power of kindness, the power of giving and helping people. You, the whole way, side with the brunette girl whose name I forget. Catherine. Catherine's a really nice additional character to this movie. I think she plays kind of the Barbie role the role that Barbie would normally play. She's a really, really important character in terms of Eden's, Starling's character growth. The next one, which was released in 2009, is definitely up there with one of my favorites as well. It is Barbie Thumbelina, and oh my goodness, I love it so much. I could talk about it heaps. I love that it has the environmental message in it. That is amazing and such good timing. Like, Mattel are really good with their progressive hints. It shows the power of friendship. It's actually my most recently watched Barbie movie, I think. I watched it like a couple weeks ago. I love that the whole message is even the smallest people can make the biggest difference, because it's all about this whole thing that there's a psychological theory that I've been learning about where people often feel less inclined to make an effort towards things if they don't feel like their efforts will make any difference. And this movie is awesome in rebutting that, in saying that every small part makes a massive difference. Lots of people make small differences into their routines, into their livelihoods. They can make a huge difference and impact in the environment, and that is freaking amazing. Next one was released also in 2009 and is Barbie and the Three Musketeers. Great movie. I love that there's a redhead in this movie. There's not very many redheads to go around in a lot of the Barbie movies, so I really appreciate that. I love, love, love that in this movie, again, Barbie saves herself. These princes have nothing to do with her. She and her musketeers are just here saving the day. They're actually saving the boy. The prince is in like this grave danger at the end, and Barbie's like on the roof. There's this roof scene. It's really cool, and she's like fighting the evil guy, and then she pushes him away and then saves the prince, and the prince is like, oh, thank you so much. And I just love that. Like, I love that Barbie just took the prince has to save me, and just flipped it all the way on its head. And the whole way Barbie gets told, you can't do this because you're a girl, you can't do this because you're a girl. And it's just all these girls conquering life and doing things and proving to these little kids that they can do whatever they freaking want if they want to. Next is a movie released in 2010, and it is Barbie, A Mermaid Tale, or Barbie in a Mermaid Tale, and Barbie stars as Malia Summers. And she's like a big surfer, lives in like a surfer house. It's a really cool movie and it's a really good feel-good movie. I really like the whole aesthetic of this movie. There's a fish in it that looks like Billie Eilish. Yeah, it's a pretty sick movie. I like that it's about a woman who plays sports. The animations are awesome. It's really, yeah, it's just a really nice feel-good movie. There is a bit of a hidden environmental message, but it's not as strong as in Thumbelina. The message is still awesome and really good for little kids. Next up is another very visually pleasing movie, a really awesome movie in terms of aesthetics and that kind of thing, is Barbie in a Fashion Fairy Tale. And this is really cool because it breaks this fourth wall, because it begins with Barbie in the scene of Princess and the Pea, and she is actually Barbie as an actor being in Princess and the Pea. And I like that she kind of takes control of her own life, and it's this whole like, don't give up even when the whole world is against you. What you are passionate about and what you love is the most important thing in your life. Definitely up there with one of my favorite movies. This is my sister's favorite movie. Next one is Barbie: A Fairy Secret. I do think that out of all the movies that are in this range that I absolutely love, this is probably my least favorite. I still love it. I really like that the evil character in this movie has a bit of a backstory, and she's one of the very few villains in a Barbie movie that's actually moderately successful in her endeavors. She's kind of a cool chick. She's like definitely inherently evil, as they call it, but she's definitely a character that is worth looking into. She's probably one of my favorite villains in terms of the Barbie movies. It's cool. It's a cool movie. Alright, well that is all I have for today. This could end up being a really long video. I will release part 2 a little bit after this one. I hope you enjoy all my analyses of all these Barbie movies, because I have so much to say about them. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. And I hope you all have a great day and week. And I'll see you the next time I see you. Goodbye. Thank you.